You're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
4 seconds left. In front. Happy moment. The Tampa Bay Lightning have won the first Stanley Cup. And the Tampa Bay Lightning have won the Stanley Cup. Lightning strikes twice. The Tampa Bay Lightning win their second straight Stanley Cup.
Welcome into RBLR Lightning, the playoff show where the Bolts come back home with the series 1-1. Lots to go over in the show, the good, the bad. We got 2 games over. I got 2 awesome guys with me here to do it. I got Mr. Jake Ricker from the Bolt Report. How are you feeling tonight, man? Jerry just tied 1-1. I have a feeling you're in a good mood.
I am in a good mood, and I'm glad we're doing this recording after game 2, because if we weren't, I'd be in a very different mood, I'll tell you that much. But hey, the Lightning got the split, which is what they always say you want to do when you are the road team for the first 2 road games. You want to get the split. They did their job, so I'm all good. I'm ready for the series to come back home now.
Along with us, too, is Mr. Matt Gannon of the Lightning Rod Pod. Matt, how you doing, man?
I'm quite well. Again, I share the same sentiment with Jake. Thank God we're doing this after game 2. Me and JP, he kind of goaded me into recording the lightning rod after game 1, and man, that was rough. So happy to be here today on this fine Wednesday or Thursday.
Lots to go over here in these 2 games, the good, the bad. Let's hop right into this game 1 where we optimism, coming into this game was which Bolts team was going to show up. The mid-season form team of slumping, or the team we know that can go out and score 6-7 goals a game and win Stanley Cup. So obviously, this was a really rough start, and I could tell from the beginning the way the boys started. You got that 5-minute major, and Toronto had more shots than we did, and I could kind of just feel it then, man. I felt like we just came out flat. Toronto took advantage of what we gave them. Honestly, I don't think Toronto played that good in game 1. I just think they took advantage of what we gave them, and they were able to take advantage of the chances and score on those chances. There was a lot of sloppy play from us, which obviously led to their advantages. Lots of fights, lots of power plays in this game. I think the PK was the positive in this game. The PK played excellent. Obviously, we did lose 5-0. Could have been a lot worse, but I think the PK really stood on its head in this game. If there was anything positive from this game, Toronto just, like I said, they took advantage of what they were given. A lot of sloppy play from the Bolts here. Man, Jake, obviously this was not a good start to this series, and definitely not what we expected here as Lightning fans.
I got to take a deep breath on this one because I don't know where to start. Chris, you mentioned you were like, coming into this game, we were wondering which team's going to show up, the mid-season one or the late-season one. Neither of those teams showed up. This was quite honestly one of the worst playoff games I have ever watched. I remember talking to some of my friends, and they're like, "Do you not remember though how bad it was in 2019?" I'm like, quite honestly, no, because I repressed that memory. But they started coming back a little bit. There were a lot of issues. It was really hard to be positive in this game. I mean, I don't think there was simply one positive. They had a 5-minute power play in that game after that dirty hit, which I'm glad they called a 5-minute manager and threw him out. I can't remember who it was, but Clifford, thank you, who got suspended for a game, which is going to be interesting when he comes back, but we'll get into that when we talk about the game 3. But I mean, you have a 5-minute power play, and one of the better power plays in the NHL when you have guys like Stamkos and Kucherov and Hedman and Point, and you get one shot on goal. I'm pretty sure Toronto had like 5. Triple the shots. Yeah, 5, something ridiculous. You cannot let that happen. It is unacceptable. I mean, that I seriously don't know what it was. People were speculating on Twitter that it was the fist bumps coming off the bus that was the ultimate thing that lost us that game. For anybody that may not know, there was a video that circulated getting off the bus, and the bus driver was fist bumping all of the players, and it made a lot of people mad. I don't know why.
There.
I feel bad for this poor bus driver, but he didn't do it in the second game, which we ended up winning. So coincidence? I don't know, but So just a bad game all around. This was a game that you just had to take the tape, shoot it, burn it, put it through the shredder, and throw it away. I mean, it was really bad. And the scary thing, I think, for a lot of people was because there's some stats which we'll bring up later of how good the Lightning are after a loss. But the thing that scared me the most about this game was they looked so bad that I couldn't see where they were going to rebound. Like, it was that bad. I mean, it looked like they did not care. It looked like they were lost. It was a disaster.
I'll get to you in a second, Matt. Jake, one more question for you. Did you see any positives in this game before? Like, obviously I said the PK looked good to me. I think they killed, like I said, 5 of 6 penalties. So I think the PK was the bright side, here for me. Did you see anything positive from the Bolts in this game?
I mean, you're right with the penalty kill. Killing that many is definitely good, especially against Toronto, who's got the number 1 power play in the NHL. But Other than that, no. I mean, I really didn't. How bad it was. I mean, you get killed 5-0, get shut out. Toronto was having the time of their lives, and you're giving them all of the confidence, and they could just never get anything going. They were giving Toronto odd man rushes. They could not get clean entries. They were taking stupid penalties. No, there really wasn't a positive in this game, and maybe because I didn't notice anything because, by the third period, I was like, why am I still watching this game? Why am I putting myself through this? But it was tough. Very tough.
Matt, go ahead, man. The floor is yours. Let us know how you feel about this game one.
Well, to answer the question you just asked Jake about taking any positives away from this game, I have none. But one way to look at it is look at everything that the Leafs did. Soak it all in. Watch how the Leafs played their game, and it was as good of a game as the Leafs could have possibly played. A lot of Leafs Nation, they're saying this is the best playoff game we've seen them this century. I mean, they just have not showed out quite like that. I think the Maple Leafs, they played really, really well, and I just can't imagine that level of play is sustainable. So I think looking at what the Lightning did negatively, you can kind of take that out as a positive, I guess. You can look at what went, or everything that went wrong, and just put it under the microscope and see how you can improve, what players are going to do what against you. And I think they really kind of proved that game too. They really did their homework, studied the Maple Leafs players more than they did coming into the series. So as far as game one went, it was brutal at every angle. I knew we weren't winning that game once about 2 minutes into that 5-minute major. That was pretty much the final nail in the coffin right there, and you could just tell nobody was into it. Everybody was just a step slow, holding the sticks too tight. It honestly kind of had shades of Game 7 against Washington in 2018. I probably only say that because of that missed Stamkos one-timer. I mean, just that just completely deflated everything, and it just had kind of shades of when Yanni Gourde missed that open net. He just literally went over the puck, and you could tell from then on the game was out of reach. It was over. I hate to be so pessimistic about that, and just sealing their fate right there, at least in my own mind. But unfortunately, that's what happened. So.
It was the truth, though, too. I mean, that's what it was.
Yeah, I'm not going to mince words, but again, just look at everything that went wrong. So 60 minutes of play. Look at the tape, figure out what you did wrong, and then burn it, throw it away. And again, I think they did a great job improving on most, if not everything, that they did wrong, and the Leafs did right that first game.
Couple more things I want to go over in this game, just get your guys' opinion on. Obviously, the Lightning have lost a lot of game ones. It seems to be the new norm for them, losing game ones, and we've seen them obviously bounce back after losses. Stats for that, but it's frustrating because I really can't figure out what the Bolts do in these type of games. To me, it looks like we really didn't even show up, and we played really flat, and it's annoying because of all the talent we have and the skill we have. We know how good the Lightning can be, so I really can't figure out what it is with these games and why they struggle so much in these game ones, and then they come back in game two, a completely team. So, Jake, what goes on with the Lightning in game one? Do you think it's a mental thing? Do you think they got to get the feel for the series and just get in playoff mode?
Yeah, that's what it seems like, is that they're just trying to get a feel for these teams and figure it out. They're the type of team that likes to ease themselves into the playoffs. They don't want to just hit the ground running immediately and burn themselves out? Maybe I don't know the answer to this question. I don't think anybody does. It is a really weird phenomenon. Team is that they've lost a lot of game ones too over the years. So this isn't new, but it's weird. If I had to guess, though, I feel like it's a mental thing, and just not being prepared and ready to go. I mean, what I kept saying during this game was, it looks like this team hasn't even shown up. I think I even tweeted at one point. I said, "Did we leave the boys back in Tampa? Are they in Toronto? Because it sure doesn't look like they're here right now." But I don't know what it is, and it really is amazing how good they are at bouncing back, though, in game 2. And that's the good news, right? That even though these games are so bad, that they are able to figure out and adjust it. Because if they weren't able to do that, the series would be over already. But I wish I had the answer for you, Chris, but I really don't.
As fans, it's very frustrating to see this team come out and just so flat sometimes. And that's where we had these losing streaks this year. But, man, come playoff time, can't. It's crazy to see the Lightning fall down a game, and we've still been able to pull away with back-to-back cups. It blows my mind. So, teams going to – if a team goes down 2-0, I believe the stat was 86% of the time that team loses. So that's you don't want to fall in that whole 2-0. And the Lightning losing these game 1, they really put themselves in that position a lot, but they find a way to get it done in game 2 every single time. So, Matt, what is it about game 1s? Do you think it's mental, or do you think the Bolts just really need to get in playoff mode?
As far as like the game 1 losses go, I look back to Dallas in 2020 or the New York Islanders series last year. I mean, that New York game was brutal. I haven't yelled at my computer like that ever. So
since last night.
No, my TV faced that punishment. But I don't know. I think a hot take here that this series they're pulling the Jane Castor. They wanted to lose one, and then then we'd be back in Toronto. Oh shoot, I screwed up there. No, I don't know. None of those game 1 losses have really stood out quite as much as this one has. I mean, it was just a shellacking. It was brutal. And, again, what team are we going to get tonight? And I think it was just kind of a feeling out process. I think the Lightning were just trying to play a little more conservatively, see what they were dealing with, and just kind of feeling each other out, seeing how, what lines are going to throw out, who's going to match up with who. When you're playing in the opposing team's building, you're going to see who they throw out when you send your guys out. They've got the last change. So I think they just, again, like I was saying before, just seeing what they're up against and fixing it on the fly. The first 45 seconds of game 2, I mean, the Lightning had possession off the opening draw, and you could just tell there was a completely different tone in the way that they were playing, even just like offense, but just regrouping, just the most basic of things. You could tell that there was a crispness, there was a intent. You had your guy labeled, you knew who you were going to, you knew who you were going to hit. There was just none of that ferociousness. There was none of the crispness, none of it in game 1. So I'm not even shaking the rust off. None of the guys are rusty. It's just who knows? But again, I'm not worried. It's just another gentleman sweep in the books coming our way.
I like it.
Knocking on wood.
And you have to give credit to Toronto too, right? Like the Lightning played really bad, but Toronto took advantage of all the opportunities they were given. They got the momentum. That building was rocking in there, even though I cannot stand some of those Toronto fans and the stupid soup chant that they have that they do after every save. It drives me crazy, but credit to Toronto. They took advantage of their opportunities, and Jack Campbell did play extremely well. He actually played really good in game 2, I thought, as well, which we'll get to in a second, but credit to Toronto.
How about when Stamkos missed that one-timer in game 1, chanting Stamkos? Did you hear that?
I did, and that's like, come on, man. Like, you really that low? Like, it's game 1. It's game 1. Calm down. Like,
honestly, I'm not too mad about it. To me, that's just, as an unbiased fan, that's an incredible atmosphere right there. But again, it's Don't get ahead of yourself,
you
pal.
know, if we were in Tampa and that was the roles were reversed, there would have been tons of Tampa fans chanting
Classless.
Matthew's name. Yeah, like Tampa fans would have done the same.
Mhm.
It's when it's happening to your team, you hate it and you're angry. But when you're doing it, you're like, yeah, it's just a little bit of fun, right? That's what sports are, and that's what makes them so amazing. But
Better than playing in Nashville.
oh
Those
boy,
chants are vicious.
we'll get there in a little bit later. But man, that's a brutal series, right?
Picking on Stammer, the hometown Toronto boy, had to give him a little love. Maybe that was the hometown love the Leafs fans were giving to him there in that missed shot. So one more thing I did want to bring up in this game though was the Leafs had 62 penalty minutes. The Lightning had 51. So obviously tons of penalties being called in this game. And we talked about it a lot, how the refs really seem to hold their whistle, but man, the calls were coming left and right in this game. And I think a lot of the calls seem to be, in my opinion, I think there was a couple ones I think could have gone either way, but I think the refs were trying to set the tone. Obviously, lots of fights in this game. I think the fight at the end was good for the Bolts, showing the Leafs like, hey, we're not going to back down. We can be physical. And when the Lightning play physical, they seem to win. Obviously, the physicality being brought to Toronto is a good sign from the Bolts. So, Jake, do you think this game was called pretty fair penalty-wise? Did you expect to see this many penalties game one?
Well, first of all, I can't believe you're still making me talk about this brutal game. No,
gotta get it all out of you. Squeeze the juice, man. Squeeze the juice.
But you bring up a great point and a great question. We always say, whistles go away in the playoffs. That is the common thought process for fans. And I've been listening to NHL radio a lot, and they're like, that's clearly not the case in these playoffs. I think through the first two sets of games, I think it's been 12 total games we've played now. There's been like 107 penalties called, I think is what they said the stat was. I mean, it's wild. But to answer your question directly, Chris, no, I did not expect suspended penalties to be called coming into game one. I thought for the most part they were fine. There's been a couple here and there that I thought have been a little iffy. Like I remember one, it was last night in game two, where there was a hooking call on Toronto that I thought was kind of weak, but for the most part, they are penalties. So it's kind of crazy how much of it has been called. Typically in the playoffs, though, when you see those, the rough stuff is what doesn't get called, right? Those big hits, the pushing and shoving after the whistle, that doesn't get called. They were doing that a ton, though, in game number one. So I definitely feel like even though this is stats, people will pull back how many penalties have been taken in the playoffs, and they'll say, no, this is normal. There definitely is a different feeling, I feel like, in these playoffs, showing that they're calling a lot more. And it's kind of weird, but these teams are going to have to learn to adjust to it, especially going against Toronto, who, again, have the number one power play in the NHL. You have got to stay out of the box.
Matt, what do you think? Lots of penalties in this game, man. Right calls, wrong calls. How do you feel about it?
As far as game one goes, right. I've tried to erase everything from my memory, but I think it was called rather well. Game two, I know a lot of Leafs fans, they were kind of complaining about.
Well, of course they were.
Yeah, Leafs fans complaining. That's news. I know a lot. I'd see a ton of Leafs versus refs, blah 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 blah, and I not that I don't agree. There were some instances where the Lightning, they kind of got away with it, but it came around to kind of bite them later on. They took a penalty with 2 minutes left. I think it was kind of a call. I can't exactly remember what it was, but there were a couple that they got away with. This is game two that I'm talking about. But again, the Leafs, they're committing stupid penalties, stick infractions, just unnecessary penalties you don't have to take. So I think it's like they got their fair chances. I don't think that it was just abhorrently ref, but I do think if that ticker was leaning one way, it was 51% in Tampa's favor. Obviously, I'm a little biased there, but I'm going to be rational about it.
So we'll put game behind us of the nightmare that it was. Just wanted to get your guys' opinion on it. Dive deep into it and see where the Bolts really game. So obviously, game two is a lot better. Lightning won this game 5-3. We came out a little slow in the first. I thought the momentum wasn't there like I thought it, but then right there at the end, I think the last 5 minutes of the first, I think the Bolts really turned it on. Got a power play. Hedman was able to really great play from Hedman to fake out Mr. Soup Campbell there in net. Great shot from Hedman. I think that really started the momentum for us, man. It was a star player. We needed to step up. A guy like Hedman, who's had a great season this year, moving up on the forecheck and on the power play and just being in the right spot at the right time. That was a big shot. big play from Hedman to get us going into the second period. A pass from Hedman to Scory Perry. Scory Perry's been alive for us this year. Good to see him get a goal in the playoffs. Great shot, great pass. Hagel was able to get on the board here. I thought overall, obviously, the power play shined really well for us in this game. Definitely showed out in this game, going 3 for 7. Man, Jake, obviously, the Lightning really came to play here in this game. We saw a completely different team than we saw in game one. Got close there at the end a little bit. I think the Bolts took their foot off the gas just a little bit here. But, Jake, how did you feel about this game, too?
Yeah, so a couple of things. The first period, you're right, definitely wasn't perfect by any means, but the bar was so low after game one that it was basically a huge improvement, right? They looked much better. You could tell right out of the gate. You're like, all right, I'm feeling a little bit better about this one. And then right at the end of the game, the Lightning got a break to go their way, and they capitalized big and they sucked the life out of the building a lot. I think scoring with had maybe 2 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah,
and put like
2.7.
Yeah, 2.7, which is crazy. I remember that play too. It almost gave me a panic attack because Hedman kind of waited a little bit to make a move to fake out Campbell, and I'm sitting there. I basically pulled a Phil Esposito. I'm like screaming to the TV, like, shoot the puck, please. I'm like, you have a second left, hurry. But he did. He made the right move and he scored. That is why he is the professional hockey player and I'm not, right? But that was huge. The Lightning then put their foot on the gas, took over that game, and were able to secure the win. And they did make it a lot closer there than it needed to be at the game. I remember sitting there going, please don't do this, guys. Please don't I started to panic a little bit because, Toronto had that power play only down 2 with 2 minutes left. And they're so good in the power play, but the penalty kill came through again. So that was definitely big. And in this game too, this is what makes the Lightning so special, right? When they talked about this a ton before the start of the game. Coming into this game, the Lightning were 14-0 with a 3.36 goals for per game and a 1.36 goals against per game over the last 2 postseasons after a loss. Andrei Vasilevsky, 14-0 as well, obviously, with a .951 save percentage and a 1.20 goals against average. I mean, it is incredible how good these guys are bouncing back after a loss, and they did it again. I don't know what it is, if they just have this amazing ability to mental reset, but it's the reason they keep winning. And if they are able to win 2 in a row at some point during this series, the Leafs are in trouble because the Lightning have shown they are continuing to do that because they are now 15-0 after tonight's win. Andrei Vasilevsky, a .948 save percentage, 1.31 goals against average. So the stats are still through the roof after a loss, which just makes it's mind-boggling. It's really what it is. I don't know how they do it, but they really are so good at having a mental reset after those bad losses.
It'd be great if we could just win game 1 for once. See what would happen game 2 and go to obviously game 2 was night and day from game 1, so you got to be feeling a lot better after this victory here in game 1. How'd you feel? Or game 2, I should say. Sorry.
Oh, completely. Like I was shaking going into this game. Like as soon as I turned the TV, you texted that in the chat. You're like, I'm extremely nervous about this game.
Anxiety.
I was the exact same way. I was literally shaking, waiting for the game to start. But as soon as I saw that puck drop, the guy, like I was just saying, they just looked completely different. Even if they weren't perfect, you could tell that there was a sense of urgency. They just looked like they were a completely different team. And it calmed my nerves, rather quick. So you could tell that there was just a different atmosphere following the team around. Again, the game was not perfect. Towards the end there, it was getting a little hairy. Never lose faith in the team, but it was still a decisive win. I mean, Hedman had 4 points that game, I believe. I mean, he was everywhere, definitely making up for the last game. There's not a lot of fingers that I really can point to, criticizing. I think everything was really shored up. It's nice to see Paul and Hagel contributing to a goal. I think both of them had really strong games, especially Hagel. I think he was fantastic throughout most of that game. Ross Colton as well. He was everywhere. He was finishing his checks. He was not backing down. Every single game, he just gets a little bit better. Even if he's not scoring, he's noticeable. Away from the puck or, chasing the puck. He's a hard forechecker. And this game, it just really, it calmed my nerves to make it short. I'm a lot more confident heading into Game 3, especially now that we're going to be going back to Amalie Arena, where we know that we've got a raucous crowd. Hopefully, I can find a ticket to one of these games, but I've got more confidence. I'm not going to get cocky like I've seen a lot of Lightning fans doing. They're like, like, I know I made the joke gentleman sweep, blah, blah. That's not going to happen. My actual predictions, Bolts in 7. The series is grueling, but I'm just happy that we showed out and showed up.
It was overall good performance. One thing to me that stood out in this game was the power play going 3 for 7. Obviously, in game 1, the power play could struggle to even get in the zone across the blue line. So I think the Lightning made some changes. I think they made the right changes. Obviously, getting the puck on net was the key in this game. Get shots on Campbell. Don't let Campbell get comfortable back there. I think the Lightning did the right thing, started firing from all angles, defensemen shooting from the blue line, getting in front of Campbell, lots of screens, lots of keep moving the puck around, keep the puck deep in the zone, check going. I think they did a lot of those things right in this game, which they were able to come away with the victory 5-3. So, Jake, man, the power play going 3 for 7. What did you see on the power play that was different from game 1?
Well, quickly, I want to go back talking about Hedman. He was at 4 points in the night, and he tied Red Kelly and Bobby Orr for the 16th most career playoff points by defenseman in NHL history. So he had a
some elite
fantastic
company
game.
Right there.
Yeah, no, he was up there, and it is definitely showing up again. Remember, Hedman was the playoff MVP. And he might be ready to do for another run, which would be quite impressive. But yeah, he had some elite company. But to answer your question, Chris, about the power play, they shot the puck. I mean, I know it's so cheesy to
calm down, Phil.
Right? Sorry. Phil says it all the time, but quite honestly, he's right. And I think the best example of this is listen, there's good times to pass the puck. It's not that you don't want to never pass the puck, but there's always that extra they talk about a lot, and the Lightning tend to do that. But if you look at the one Kucherov goal that he scored, he got the puck, he kind of in, made a little move, and shot the puck. He could have easily tried to pass that across the middle and given Stamkos a wide open net to shoot at, but he didn't. He went and took the shot. He's got a great wrist shot, and he took advantage of it and scored. So I think stuff like that is they took advantage and why they were so much better on the power play. They still made those plays in some of those passes. They still tried that stuff, but they didn't do it every single time. A lot of the teams have started to learn that, hey, we have to be ready for that pass to come to the middle of Steven Stamkos because they do it all of the time. But if you can mix it up and you get teams guessing on whether you're going to shoot the puck or pass it, that's when things start clicking, and that's what happened for the Lightning last night.
Special teams has been a big key in these first 2 games already. I think Toronto's PK is really strong in game 1 for them. They've had a lot of shorthanded chances, so the Bolts needed to clean that up in game 2, and they did. I mean, Toronto did end up getting a shorthanded goal, which was McDonough's fault, clearly just a bad play on him. But I think the PK has played pretty well overall. The PK's was 0-4 in this game, shut down Toronto's power play, which is huge. So I think keeping this game 5-on-5 is going to be the key to the rest of this series. Play Toronto 5-on-5. I think we have the better overall team 5-on-5. Keep stay out of the box, play smart. So Matt, man, the power play was really good here in game 2. What did you see from the power play in game 2 compared to game 1?
To me, it was the entry. We all know that most teams, and especially the Lightning, once they get it cycling, once they get themselves established in the zone, it's rather difficult to strip them or clear that puck. But the hardest part for the Lightning, and again, most teams, is the entry and getting set up and getting there. And you could tell that they were adjusting on the fly. They had to learn the hard way in game 1. But adjusting on the fly, it's normally, Hedman, he's back there to rally, get up and get it moving, then dump it back and have Braden Point or Nikita Kucherov come and take it. What I saw of was Hedman, he just took it right into the zone by himself. I think the Maple Leafs, they were expecting that drop pass and the 2 wingers to come up the side and take it in. And I think the Leafs were ready for that, plan A, and then just having Hedman just kind of burst in there. Good luck stopping him. He's not greatest stick handler, puck handler, but he's got, some great wheels and a massive frame to, complement, his air quote, not great hands. He's still got fantastic hands, as we saw for that opening goal. And again, I'm the farthest thing from a skills coach. I'm not going to be critiquing him. So, again, but just the entry and crisp passes once you are inside the zone. I think Hedman, again, he played a whale of a game, and I believe it was I'm not sure who it was, but somebody was saying, watch out for Victor Hedman. He's going to be the X factor in the series. It was Dangle, I think. He said Victor Hedman would be the player to watch for, and I was thinking like, I'm not really sure he's going to be that X factor player. But again, he really showed out tonight, and he really carried that power play on his back. But again, he's the quarterback. He really got everything going and just helped get the power play established and that presence instead of just reverting back to the norm, having Pointer Kucherov take it 3 feet into the zone and turn it over. Obviously it wasn't working. So great to the whole team for setting picks for him, had been lanes to take that puck in, and yeah, it was a win by committee. So not without the help of everybody that was on the power play. It just win by committee.
Overall, yes, great team effort. Obviously, they were able to come away with a 5-3 victory here. I almost feel like it could have been 5-1. McDonough makes that ugly pass and turnover. That goal doesn't happen. Toronto late. I feel like I think the Bolts outplayed Toronto and they were able to come away with the victory. So we're heading back to Amalie with the series tied 1-1. We have swung in our favor now. Obviously, 2 home games coming here Friday night, and then obviously on Sunday. So happy Mother's Day real quick to all the mothers out there and the mothers that listen to us here. So big game coming up here tomorrow night as we record here on this Thursday. I expect the Bolts to come out strong again, man. I really do. The crowd's going to be rocking. Amelie's going to be loud. Sticks of Fire is going to be loud in the crowd. So I think this is a hockey town, man. Come playoffs, Amalie is going to be rocking for sure. The crowd's going to be pumped, energized. Obviously, I do expect a decent amount of Toronto fans. It's just going to happen. That's just the way it goes, unfortunately. But
at least Bolts, they blend in.
Yeah, they blend in. Everyone's going to be blue and white in the crowd, so that's a good sign.
Except for that one Chicago fan that decided to show into the arena.
Bright red jersey in the middle of the crowd that we'll see here. So, Jake, what do you expect here in games 3 and 4? Do you expect the Bolts foot on the gas 24/7 or what?
I sure hope so, because if not, my heart rate's going to go through again. I don't need more of that. But listen, as history would tell you, you would expect the Lightning to come out strong. Usually they are really good at home in the playoffs. So hopefully that continues here. And they're ready to go. I mean, it seems like they figured things out. I know a lot of Leafs fans were saying, hey, we've outscored them majority. They didn't dominate us in game 2. We dominated in game 1 and made it competitive. So we're the better team right now. But listen, Lightning understand that none of that matters. All that matters is right now, series is tied 1-1. That's it. It's now a best-of-5 series move, and I expect them to be ready. Andrei Vasilevsky is the best goalie in the world. He proved that yet again in game number 2, especially with that amazing glove save that he made, by the way, in that game, which was incredible. So if he's on his game as well, there is nothing that Lightning can't do. Andrei Vasilevsky is a big part of that. So hopefully they're ready to go. Hopefully they get a quick start, get that crowd going, get it pumped up, which, by the way, Sonia Bryson just put out a tweet earlier saying that she needs the fans to bring their voices for the national anthem because she's passing off the mic. So be ready, Bolts Nation. We got to show up big here on national television. I'm excited for this game.
Yes, if you're in the building, get ready to sing. Practice your singing in the hallway. Go to the bathroom. Get your voice ready. Do what you got to do. Matt, games 3 and 4. What can we expect here in games 3 and 4 from the Bolts?
Well, as we know, like the Leafs, they haven't played a playoff game that good. The Lightning haven't played a playoff game that bad. Both teams in years. So I'm expecting not domination, but I'm expecting another, 5-1 style game. What we saw for 45, 50 minutes of game 2. I'm expecting, the crowd to be raucous and loud and, mimicking the ACC or whatever it is now, Scotiabank. I'm expecting a lot of good things. As far as that Sonia tweet going, I don't think this needs to be said, but somebody should remind Toronto fans, stay silent during the other country's anthem.
Preach it, Matt. Preach it.
I can't believe I couldn't really hear what he was saying. Obviously, I'm watching it through the television, but I mean, Christ, everybody was just having their Sunday conversations with each other during the American national anthem. I thought that was just kind of disrespectful, and I'm not one of those respect my flag kind of guy. To me, it's just, come on, show a little bit of class.
Well, Chicago does that. Well, a lot of teams have these things where if they blue, like they'll chant blue or red or whatever it
That's
is
fine.
that fits with the national anthem. That always bothered me. I'm not a huge fan of that. It's kind of weird. I don't know. It's just me. But Chicago does that too, where they chant throughout the entire national anthem. I remember they were doing that at Amalie too, and it made so many Lightning fans so angry. But you're right. Absolutely. You need to respect that national anthem 100%. Don't want to be talking through that. That's never a good look. But quickly, too, I do want to mention Sergachev before we get into some of the other games around the league. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like Sergachev has really struggled this year, and it's come noticeable in the playoffs. He's had a couple of bad games, and he just looks like he's making a lot of mental mistakes and making silly plays. Like there was a clearing attempt he had in game 2 where it kind of hit Sorelli up high too, and I was a little worried there that might take him out for a little bit, but luckily he was okay. But it just seems like Sergachev is not the player he used to be, which is weird because he's gotten better over the last couple of years, but this year it seems like he really has taken a step back. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but he has got to stop making those turnovers in front of the net because they are going to cost the Lightning at some point if he continues to do that.
And Sergachev knows better. Lots of mental errors from him. You're right. Step backwards. We expected big things from him this year, and we know what he's capable of. We've seen his wrist shot. It's some of his moves, his skating ability. It's all there. I think he just needs to put it together here and help the Bolts, out in these next couple games. We want to win this series here. Like I said, I still got the Bolts in 6, so I think that means that we still got to lose one more game here, which will be frustrating. But I'd rather the Bolts just win out than lose any more and be frustrated and have anxiety. So real quickly though, I did want to take a look around the league real quick. East. The East is stacked, man. I think anybody in the East has a chance at the Cup. I really do. We have to run the gauntlet to get back. So this is really a test for the boys. Obviously, if you get past Toronto, there's a lot of good teams out there we still got to get past to get to the three-peat. So I think the Caps being up the Panthers on 1-0 is kind of a surprise to me. Panthers got the President's Trophy and the curse. Mr. Jake Ricker here shaking his head at me, but I think he had the Caps over the Panthers here, which I'll let him get to here in a second. But other stuff around the league, Colorado put it on Nashville game 1. Lots of series are tied 1-1. Game 2's coming up here tonight. Jake, how about the Eastern Conference, man? Obviously, it's going to be a gauntlet for the Bolts if we can get past Toronto here.
Yeah, these first round of the playoffs have been fantastic so far, and we're only through the first 2 games. Tonight will be through the first 2 games for all of the series. But you're right. I did take Washington in my prediction, so I'm feeling pretty good about myself on that pick. And it's funny, I don't like either of these teams at all. So my preference is Meteor hits the ice and just takes them both out. But
choose the lesser of the 2 evils.
I'm kidding, but no, I did pick Washington. That's a big win for them in that first game. So if they could go up 2-0 in this series, that would be huge. And I think both me and you, Matt, said this, is that we feel like this is the Panthers 2019, right? Like they had a really good season and they're not ready for the playoffs. Obviously, it's still very early. They've only played 1 game. So if they could tie it up here, that they should be okay in the long run. But heck, and then you got the Pittsburgh Rangers series going over there on the other side of the Eastern Conference, and that's been a great one. Domingue coming in strong for the Penguins. Shout out to the former Lightning goaltenders, which are making some run. Mike Smith as well. He had a big game for Edmonton in that bounce back after they tied the series at 1. Connor Ingram starting for the Predators tonight as well, who former Lightning goaltender. So kind of interesting to see all the Lightning goaltenders making a splash in this postseason. But the only series I haven't been surprised about so far is the Carolina-Boston. Carolina is running over the Boston Bruins right now. It'll be interesting to see if anything changes with the series going back to Boston now. But it looks like Carolina is just manhandling them. And
no chance anything changes.
Yeah, and they've lost Lindholm too now, which is really going to hurt them. So
did you see that hit?
I did not. I've been trying to look for it because I've heard it was a huge hit.
Find it after this. I mean, I like Hampus Lindholm. I love the Ducks. They're my Western Conference team. But my God, Svechnikov laid him out. It was a clean hit. It was perfect. It was as good of a hit as it could possibly be. And, it's unfortunate, Lindholm, I think he either concussion protocol or full-on concussion. But, again, beautiful, brutal, clean hit.
That's what the playoffs are all about, right? Those that high intensity. Of course, you get hurt, but yeah, no, that's Boston's in trouble. There's no question about that. They need a complete 180 for them right now. But Carolina would be a tough opponent. Them until the Eastern Conference Finals, but they're looking good to start things off. And then as for, let's see, who else we have in the Eastern Conference? Well, it's Florida, Washington for us. Like I mentioned, Washington looks good. I think they're going to pull off that upset, but all of these series are very, very close. Minnesota, St. Louis is close as well over there. LA getting one of those wins in Edmonton was big. I mean, these series are all a ton of fun to watch right now. And how about Colorado just dominating Nashville in that first game? That was, I feel bad for Nashville fans. That was not fun to watch.
The NHL playoffs are something else, man. I tell people if you're not into hockey, this is the time to get into it. Give it a try, man.
100%.
There's nothing like the NHL playoffs. There's really not. Nothing can compare to it. The intensity, the fire these teams bring. So I think that's all I had for the show tonight, guys. Obviously, final thoughts here. We got 2 big home games coming up here in Amalie Arena. I expect it to be rocking. I expect the team to show up, man. Obviously, we saw how bad game 1 was, and then we saw what we're capable of in game 2. So I expect the game 2 Lightning to show up in game 3, 4, and here on out. Obviously, I think Toronto does steal another game here and there, but man, the talent on this team, they know what it takes to get it done. It's frustrating sometimes, but just put the pucks on net. Put the pucks on net. I think that's the key to the rest of this series. Put the pucks on net and don't take dumb penalties. And someone, for the love of God, stick on Austin Matthews and cover him. So, Matt, your final thoughts, man, going into these next 2 games before we record.
You said, we really got to target, sounds like, targeting for injury, but we got to target these top players. I know Mitch Marner, he's very, very elusive. They got to watch him. I think last game they had Matthews covered pretty well. I didn't see him a whole hell of a lot, but Mitch Marner, he's a crafty little guy there. He's got a wicked shot, and it's just, keeping your man, making sure they don't get any more breakaway 2-on-1 chances or anything. And again, they're not going to be perfect. There's going to be mistakes, so do not crucify them. If they do make mistakes, they will not be perfect. I'll guarantee you that. But as long as they can be pretty damn close to it, we'll all be happy.
Jake, man, I'm going to give you the final word, man. Go ahead and take us home, man.
2 big games coming up here at home. Obviously, Toronto's now looking to do what we did to them and just split the series. So if we can get 2 wins, we are looking beautiful. But my biggest key, I know Chris said shoot the puck, and Phil would love you for that. But my biggest key is stay out of the box, please. They're calling a lot of penalties this year. And Toronto is really good in the power play. You cannot give them a ton of opportunities. So stay out of the box. Do not take another too many men on the ice call. I do not want to see that again. So stay out of the box. Bolts fans, please rock Amalie Arena. People love to say that we sound like a library, even though they are so wrong about that. Get excited. I cannot wait for these next 2 games, and I'm looking forward to it. Go Bolts, baby.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.